Apologies, guys. I was a little bit late getting finished up in the previous class. Just letting people in, and then we'll get started. Okay, welcome everybody. Thank you very much for coming. Apologies that we're a little bit late starting. I had the kids class run a little bit over. Let's get stuck into it. There's a couple of you I want to specifically look at tonight. There's a notice on our website that I put up on the weekend that got emailed out today to let everyone know what's happening for grading. Looks like we may still be in lockdown on grading date, or probably in level 3 or something I would expect at that point. So what we'll do is white belts and yellow stripes. We'll run the grading over Zoom like this, and I'll do people in small groups. Yellow belts and above, assuming that we're only going to be delayed another couple of weeks, we'll do our grading when we get back. So we might get back into class, do 1 week to settle in, and the following week will be grading date so that we're not delayed too far. But there's a few white belts and yellow stripes that I want to look at today to see how you're going for grading and other stuff to do. Just looking for this to save. There he is. Oh, no. Okay. Sit up. Comment. Take one. And raise your right hand and recite the tenets. Shijok, courtesy, integrity, perseverance, self-control, indomitable spirit, and the student oath. Isok, I shall observe the tenets of Taekwondo. I shall respect the instructor and seniors. I shall never misuse Taekwondo. I shall be a champion of freedom and justice. I shall build a more peaceful world. Bottle. Just a couple, just checking who we've got here. Toby, we've got multiple Tobys. Mark, we've got multiple Marks. Make sure you put your family name into your name as well, so we know who you are. And rotating wrists. So Mark, if you can change your screen name so we know which Mark you are. Mark Y will probably be enough. Change direction. Elbows. Welcome back, visitors. It's great to have visitors. So much easier when you don't have far to travel, just to your lounge. Change direction. Arms back. There it is. And arms forwards. And torso. Left ankle. Change direction. Change foot. Change direction. Hands on knees and down. Adults, remember, if you have knee trouble, just modify. I've got a great bunch of people here again tonight. That's awesome. And hands up by your brain, sticking your legs outwards. and inwards. Keep your hands up, hands up. Lift those knees nice and high when you're doing circles. Hi, Emily. Up, up, up. Above your belt with that knee. That's better. Come on, Bella, lift it up. Okay, now an unusual one. Anunsogi. I want you to imagine you're holding a big beach ball in front of you. What we're going to do is we're going to circle that beach ball around to our leg. Lean up, hold the beach ball up to the sky. Circle it around to the other leg. You bring it right down to the floor. Cross your leg, ceiling, other leg, floor. Don't let go of your beach ball. And change direction. And come on. Okay. Crazy little exercise I came across this morning. We just did this with the kids. Everyone knows how to do star jumps. But instead of doing our star jumps like this, we're going to touch our toes. Do 20, go. That's so nutty. Okay. And parallel stance punch. Feet in parallel stance. Right hand on your hip, left hand out. When you do parallel stance punch, rise up slowly onto the balls of your feet and drop down and punch. From here, remember your 3 count. Relax 1, pull back 2, punch 3. Hala! Punch the center line of your body. Duel. Set. Net. Keep your hips and shoulders straight. Stay in time with me. Keep your hips and shoulders straight. Don't angle your shoulders. Change to high punch. Your eye level. My camera angle is a bit misleading. Low, navel height. Keep your eyes forward when you punch low. Don't look down to your fist. Come on. Now left foot out, Anusajegi. Now your heels stay on the floor. You create sine wave with your knee spring. Middle punch. Go. Change to flat fingertip thrust. Green stripes and above, change to straight fingers up thrust. If you're blocking with the other hand, red stripes and above, change to upset fingers up thrust. Change to knife hand side strike. Change to back for side strike. Change to reverse knife hand inward strike. Change to knife hand inward strike. Come on, bottle. Left leg back, looking ready stance. To beat. Front rising kick. Hana. Two. Set. Net. Tasa. Yasa. Elga. Yado. Aho. Yo. Change legs. Hana. Two. Set. Net. Tasa. Yasa. Ilga. Yado. Aho. Yo. Change legs. Vertical kick out, exercise outward. Hana. Dual. Set. Net. Tasa. Inwards. Hana. Dual. Set. Net. Tasa. Change legs. Outward. Hana. Dual. Set. Net. Tasa. Yasa. Inwards. Hana. Dual. Set. Net. Tasa. Forward bottle. Left foot out. Uninjured Misogi. V. From here, just on the spot. Side rising kick. Ha. And the other leg. Dual. Set. Net. Tasa. Yasa. Ilga. Yado. Aha. Yo. Hana. Dual. Set. Net. Tasa. Yasa. Ilga. Yado. Aha. Yo. And to bottle. Grab a drink. Okay. Now,
So I think your second camera's on.
Oh, thank you. Keeps turning itself on. Okay. Now, I was lucky enough in the last class to have Mr. Saber helping me out. Had a couple of my red belts helping me out in classes, which has been awesome. And Mr. Saper is going to do a little segment now. Okay. Ready, Mr. Saper?
So,
Up. Go in. Come on. All yours, Mr. Saper. Thank you.
thanks, sir. Okay, I think I've done this most people before. I've done it a few times at grading and stuff. 4 directional kicks. Can you guys give me a thumbs up if you know what I'm talking about by 4 directional kicks? Yeah. Okay, is that everyone or most people? Okay, raise your hand if you don't know. Okay. So I'll just quickly go over it. It's a 4-directional stepping motion, very similar to what we do in our 4-directional punch or 4-directional block, where you just do a technique in one direction, and then we step behind us and we do a technique in another direction, and we repeat the same technique. But of course, instead of punches or blocks, we're doing kicks. And we also have an additional use of a guarding block in this situation to help us support those kicks. So for each direction, the pattern is we have a guarding block, and then we'll do whatever kick we're doing, and then we'll change direction to the next one. And we do that for 4 directions, same as any other 4-directional movement. Thumbs up if that makes sense, guys. Okay, cool. So we're gonna do that a few kicks and then a few different spicy things you can do with kicks. So everybody, 2B. We'll start off very simple, just to make sure everyone gets the idea, with a front snap kick only, 4-directional front snap kick. Hana. So I'll be stepping back into a guarding block for the first count. 2, kick and guarding block. Set, guarding block, net. Yep, sweet. Okay, everyone return. Left side now. Hana. 2. Set. Net. That's yeah, so unlike 4-directional punch, 4-directional block, you should end up facing the same way as you started, because after the kick, we pivot into a running block. Okay, cool. Looks like everyone got that. So we'll move to some more fun stuff now. Okay. Same thing, guys, same sort of movement, but this time instead of a front kick, we'll be doing a side kick. And just go for shoulder level. If you're not comfortable with that, it's more important to have a good kick than to really strain yourself and try to get your leg up there. So do whatever level comfy for you, but if you're young, you should be aiming for shoulder level. So we're doing patterns and try to incorporate the high punch as usual. Okay, everybody, Jimby, right leg first. Hana. 2. Set. Net. That's it. Cool. Okay, to make it more efficient now, guys, instead of coming back in between each pattern, we'll do a jump change. So jump change. Yeah. Do a key up if you can, but if you don't want to because you're home, that's okay. I'm not. Okay. 2. Set. Net. Okay, everyone battle. The last one of the single kicks we'll do is a back kick. And because most of us should be, everyone's pretty senior here, so we'll do them all with a pivot as normal. So kicking to the front. Okay, we're ready, Hana. And for the first kick, 2. Make sure you're facing the right way. Can be easy to get mixed up when we're spinning. Set. Net. Pass it. Sweet, jump change. Okay. Hana. 2. Set. net. Awesome. Okay. So those are 3 basic kicks. I'm sure everyone's done a bunch of those before. So that's easy enough. Who knows what I'm talking about when I say consecutive kicks? Do you guys know what I mean by that? Yeah? Okay, that's good. Just for the few people who don't know, just a quick recap. Consecutive kicks is when we perform 2 kicks. They have their own breath. They each have their own sign wave, all distinct motions, but they are off the same leg. And the most important thing is we do not put our leg down in between. So if I was to do a consecutive front kick and then turn kick, for example, it would look like this. Front kick, and then in its own motion, but without putting my leg down, I pivot and do a turn kick. So that's a consecutive front and turn kick. And then we'll continue with that. So let's all give that a go first for our first consecutive kicks pattern. Everyone ready to be? Hana, running block. Okay, and then consecutive front and turn kick. 2. Yeah, looks good. Good job, guys. Set. Net. That's it. And jump change. Hana. 2. Set. Net. Okay, sweet. And jump change. Okay. Another consecutive kick. This time we're gonna have 3 kicks in the sequence. So it goes front, side, back. Make sure, I probably should have mentioned this last time, but make sure you guys are pivoting your foot differently so it's appropriate to each kick. And also when we do these kicks, the side kick is actually gonna go beside us. The back kick is actually gonna go to our back. We're not gonna like turn like that or something. Much more interesting if you do it front, side, back for 3 different attackers. Okay? Everybody ready in your guarding block? Right leg first. Hana. Two. Set. Net. Looks good. It's a little tricky, I know. You guys are all doing well. Nice work. Okay, jump change. And now the left side. This is going to be a challenge for even me. So see if we can do it, guys. Ready? Hana. Sorry. Two. My bad. Set. Whew. Good work, guys. Oh, I almost fell over on that one. Okay. Last thing we should do, because now we've done consecutive kicks, is the other type of time when we double up our kicks in the same count, and that's combination kicks. And a really fun way to do combination kicks, which is where we switch leg for kicks. So like a combination of turning kicks would be like here and then here, for example. A really fun way to do these is flying. Yeah? Flying combination kicks? Okay, I can see a few people are excited. So we'll start off with my personal favorite one. And I like this one a lot because it has a good flow and it's really similar to doing scissor action. So with our back leg, we're gonna come up and do a flying front snap kick. And then before we land, we're gonna try and pivot over and perform a side turning kick with the opposite leg. So all together, it looks like this. Yeah, give it a go now if you want, just on your own. Casually give it a try. Oui.
Can I ask a question?
Nah?
May I ask, what if you have like a wooden floor underneath you?
Oh yeah, so if it's not safe for you to jump, then you can practice one of the other consecutive kicks we've done. So yeah, if you have wooden floor upstairs or something, unfortunately that's just a limitation of training at home. So yeah, do any of the other consecutive kicks or whatever you're comfortable with. Okay, for everyone else, in your ready position. Right leg back, running block. Okay, let's see what we can do. 4 directions of a combination front turning kick, flying. Hana. Two. Set. Net. I'm pretty sure I went the wrong way there at some point. Sorry about that, guys. Hopefully you did it better than me and you got them all the right way. Yeah. Oh, typing those hard. Okay, okay. Other leg now. I'll try to turn the right way this time. Everyone ready? Hana. Be going this way. Two. Oh, messed up again. Set. And net. No, this way. Oh my. Obviously need some work. Okay. The last one is my favorite combination kick. Super fun. If you guys do some like different sparring training, you might know it as a spiral kick. It's a combination of a side piercing kick and a back piercing kick. For this one, it is kind of flying, but it's really helpful to have a scissor action where you switch your legs over. So for moving forward, it looks like this. I'm gonna do a side kick. I'm gonna sort of jump in the middle of my side kick and then switch to a back kick. Also note that it's not a perfect side piercing kick because I don't have time to hold down. So it's kind of like we're flicking a side kick and then as quickly as possible, turning around and extending the back piercing kick. It's very tricky. I'm very likely to mess it up here. So just do your best to keep up, guys. Hop on your feet, give it a couple tries on your own, and then we'll jump into the 4 directional pattern. Ooh. Okay, everybody ready, guarding block. Right leg back, ready to give it a go, our spiral combination kick. Hana. Two. Set. Net. Okay. Looks like most of us made it through. Great job, guys. Oh my, I messed that up for sure. Good on you guys. Okay, jump change. If the right side wasn't hard enough, let's do the left side. Hana. Two. Set. Nope. Last one, guys. Everything you got. Net. Oh, awesome work, guys. Thank you so much for bearing with me. Good job. You guys all did really well with some of that crazy stuff.
I think if
That
you
was
were
awesome.
on video and sold that, it would be horrifying to watch.
Yeah.
That was really cool. Thanks, guys. Okay, chin up. And face Mr. Saper. Tell me, to go on. Raise your hand if you feel you're in a drinks break. All right, grab a drink, grab a drink.
Thanks, guys.
Nice work, that was cool. I really appreciate having assistants come in and do little segments like that because they come with stuff that I don't normally do. It's just different ideas. It's really cool. Question, Ms. Kelsey?
No, I just wanted to say that was a good, listen, that was good.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Do me out of a job. It's good stuff. Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to take a look at some patterns. There's a couple of you at white belt and yellow belt level that I want to see how you're going. But before we do that, everybody sit down. This is so I can replace me with the spotlight with other people. No pressure. But if you have a green belt, stand up. All green belts, stand up. Okay. You're going to be spotlighted. Not, there's another green belt. Okay, other green belts, other green belts, there's another green belt.
Did we unmute?
Or you can unmute if you want to, but you won't need to do your pattern. Other green belts. Here's another green belt. Okay. Oh, Nate and Jess sneaked by with blue belts. That's right. Okay, green belts there. Belts in the road. Look at all. Oh, this is awesome. What a great bunch. Okay, now everybody on your feet. Now that I've known who to spotlight. Green belts and above are doing Wonyo.
You don't want to. Do you want me to go
Green
in?
stripes and below are doing Chonji or four direction punch both sides if they don't know Chonji. So white belts will do Chonji, yellow stripes through to blue stripes will do, white belts do four direction punch both sides. Yellow stripes through to green stripes do Chonji, green belts and above do Wonyo. To beat. She jump. Come on, Nate, nice and strong. Remember our inside the house rule. If you don't have space, do a strong technique and then adjust your space. Well, Jack, I think you're not quite sure of the pattern movements there. You're putting some stuff in funny places. I have to show you Wonyo. And once you finish, hold your last position. And come on, Buttle. Good work. A little bit of a warm up there. Okay, now, where did you go? Not there, not there. Oh, Alice, can you give me a little wave? Cool, awesome. When you do your knife hand guarding block, just make sure that your backhand is in front of your badge here. Yours was a little bit low. It's up here. Just so you're protecting your whole body with that. Okay, now that was a warm up for the people that I need to see. I want to see, 1 second. I want to see Emily. Oh, where's this? I went pushed the wrong button. There's Emily. I want to see. Bella. And Cohen. Okay. As I said before, the white belts and yellow stripes, I'll be able to grade while we're in lockdown. So just want to see how you guys are going through your syllabus. So everybody in white belts and yellow stripes, four direction punch. Everybody else do one pattern below your own pattern. So green belts will do Dosan, blue belts will do Yogot, and so forth. One pattern below your own pattern, except white belts and yellow stripes will do four direction punch. Right side, then left side. Jabi. Shi chop. Nice big stances. David, right side first. Like your sister. Should be doing your right side first, so your right foot moves. Now return and do the left side, white belts and yellow stripes. Go. That's it, David. Now you got it. Nice power, Cohen. Okay, just hold that last position while the seniors are finishing. Lockie, just watch the angle of those arms in your sun, Maki, as I talked about last night. Just make sure they're slightly open, not slightly closed. Jack, one pattern below your own pattern is Dosan, not one yoke. Dr. White, yeah. Watch your stance at the end there. Watch the angle of that back foot. Then R, you should be in an L stance, so make sure you're sitting in an L stance. Kate, hold your last position. Cool. Keep those hips and shoulders straight. Maybe a tiny bit longer in that stance, Kate. You're growing. Rose, you've got a very slight lean of your body there. Just make sure your torso's up and down. And Guma, Baro. Okay. Everybody one pattern down, except for white belts and yellow stripes who are now doing Sajumaki. Sajumaki for white belt and yellow stripes. Everyone else is one pattern down. Beat. White belts and yellow stripes, you'll do right side, then left side. Shi, chop. Four direction block, Bella. So remember, step back into that knife hand block first.
So what am I meant to be doing? Because I was going to the bathroom.
Okay, two patterns below your own pattern. So doing good.
Yes, sir.
Now, once you finish the right side white belts to the left side, that's it. Watch your crossing, Emily. On top for the low block, underneath for the middle block. Now the left side, Cohen. Hold that last position. Sorry, Miss Epina, you've got three patterns. You could have done your three. It's all right, it's not over yet. Hold your last position. Tidy that last stance. And come on, bottle. Shot. Okay, now. Everyone who is not a yellow belt, squat down. If you're not a yellow belt. Who have I got who's yellow belts? Oh, yes. Okay, if you've got any green stripes, you can stand up too. Oh, yes, we've got Diogo. Diogo's green stripe. Okay. Now the green stripes or yellow belts that I've missed. Okay, cool. Everybody up. Now, everybody this time performing your own pattern, except yellow stripe or yellow belts and green stripes are doing chonji along with yellow stripes. So yellow stripes, yellow belts, and green stripes are doing chonji. Jimmy. Shijo. Big stances. Watch that turning. Watch your crossing, Emily. Cross on top with the low blocks. On top. Just start again, Emily. Start again, Emily. Emily, start again for me. Okay, Emily. Emily, wave. Can you hear me? Start again for me. Watch your crossing. On top here. what your stance is. Make sure I can see the difference between your L stance and your walking stance. Okay. Come on, model. Shot. Okay, make sure when you're at home, working at home, it's a really good time, guys, to devote to improve your stances and your patterns. So don't rush through things. When you're working in a confined space, use it as an opportunity to make sure you've got good stances, good crossing. So if I'm doing Chongji from here, I'm not going to do my first movement like this, where it looks like a bad L stance. I have to turn, pivot to a strong walking stance. Then my second movement, when I turn, sine wave, down, up, down, land in a strong walking stance. Then the next movement, pivot, walking stance. Make sure I finish my walking stance. Same thing when I do my backward step turn clockwise here, down, up, down. Practice that movement so I can land in a good strong stance. Okay, so find the tricky sequences in your pattern and work through those. In fact, we're going to do that now. I want you to take 5 minutes, take one sequence from your pattern. In fact, we'll do 2 of them, but for the first 2 minutes, we're only going to do 1. Take a tricky sequence from your pattern and repeat the sequence. Repeat, repeat, repeat. 4 or 5 movements maximum, nothing more than that. So for Chongji, it might just be the first 4 movements. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or you might do movements 9 through 12. Go. Choose your sequence. I'll spotlight the odd person. So we're not recording me watching. Go. I'm going to start by spotlighting blue stripes. I'm going to put all the blue stripes on the screen. Yes, Mr. West.
If it involves a kick, do we just do the kick as well?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Yes, all the kicks as well.
All right, thank you, sir.
Where's my blue stripes? One of the blue stripes. Come on, Elijah. You're on screen. Show me your tricky sequence and let's get practicing it. Zach, I'm going to look at your one as well.
Master B.
Yes, Christian.
I was just thinking, when we do Wonyo, there's the first kick that we have to do. I was just wondering, when you're in the standing position, does that count as just 1, or is the kick with it a 1?
No, the stance is one movement, the kick's a separate movement.
Okay.
Elijah, just watch with that sequence. When you do the front elbow strike, I'll add me to the spotlight so you can see what I'm talking about. Present your hand as a target and then hit it with your elbow. Don't slap your hand. Yeah, that's it. So rather than doing this, where I'm slapping my elbow, I put my hand out there and then I hit it with my elbow. That's better. Yes. Make sure it comes straight across. Good. Zach, looking good. Just be careful not to lean when you do that circular block. Don't lean your body forward. Just bend your leg to go down slightly. That's it. Looking good. Okay, now I might take a look at my red belts. What other red belts have I got? And my black stripes. Oh, what just happened there? There we go. What other red belts have I got here? There's another red belts. Oh, another red belts. Back stripes as well. Okay. Looking at my red belts. Good, Mr. Saper. Your right kick's just a little bit too low. Okay, and remember we're working on exploding with that hip. Then try and get some power in those kicks. Okay, you got to get your hip and your body behind your kicks rather than just throwing your leg out. Good man. Liam, I want to see how you're going with those stances that we're working on. So check your stance. Keep your heels on the floor between those movements, and you slide into a fixed stance there, Liam. So it should be longer than your L stance. Okay, you can choose another sequence now. Cohen, I'd like you to try, just like you've seen me do for Chonji, where you do the punch, turn around and do the block in the other direction. I want you to try that. So step to the left and do a low block, step forward and do a punch, turn all the way around, do a low block, step forward and do a punch. Try that. And I'm going to spotlight now my blues and red stripes. One here. Yes, Arnav, you're on. More blue belts. Where are my blue belts? Here's another blue belt. Okay, choose a sequence. Where you go, practice your new sequence. Oh, there's no Jess. Oh, yeah, there. Okay, I must have missed some. Apologies, blue belts, if I've missed you. Dr. Yee, with that release, don't think so much about going up first. I'll put myself onto the spotlight too so you can see. Somebody's grabbed your arm here, so you can't really go up in the sine wave. From here, you just drop straight down. So from the grab here, relax your other hand, drop into your walking stance, use your hip, boom, just explode into that release. So you're doing your sine wave with your back fist, then drop, rise up, punch.
Was I doing too much up at the beginning, sir?
Yes, yeah, you're doing a little bit this. Someone's grabbed your hand, you're just dropping straight down.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome. Okay, Nate and Jess, how you going? Let's see it. You're on spotlight so I can see. Make sure you pivot all the way past for that side kick. You'll use your leg muscles to lift your kick up. That's it, Dr. Yee. Just rise up on the back, lift the back heel off the ground when you do the punch. So drop into your release. Now back heel comes off the ground in fast motion, so you don't have a downward motion, you just go straight up and then drop down for your punch. Muscle McPhail describes it as a third of a sine wave. That's it. Block, straight up, punch. Drop back down again. Yep, that's it. Fast motion, lovely. Okay, and come on. Okay. Grab a quick drink of water.
Sir,
Yes, Christian.
all right, when I did the consecutive punches in Munyo,
Yes.
is it a 1 and 2 or is it just a 1? Are
There's
they
only,
both-
you mean after the front snap kick?
Yes.
There's only a reverse punch. There's no obverse punch. So from here, when you do your circular block, kick, reverse punch. Circular block, kick, reverse punch.
Okay, I've been doing 2 then. Okay, thank you.
Only one, just the reverse punch. Anybody else have any questions about the sequences?
I have a question about the last part of Jongun.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't really understand the last part of it when we do the double forearm block. Could you be able to show me it?
So from the, you're talking about before the palm pressing blocks?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you've done the release, the punch, step together, walking stance, high double forearm block from here. Now there's a lot of single foot shifting in Jungun. So from my walking stance, I'm moving my front foot and doing a side punch and L stance. Then from here, without a bending stance, I'm doing a side piercing kick. And then on the other side, doing the same motion. So double forearm block, side punch and L stance. So you see that movement of the foot from walking stance to L stance. And then the left leg side piercing kick. Then from here, I landed a forearm guarding block in L stance. The next movement is a palm pressing block in low stance. Low stance is the length of your foot longer than walking stance. One hand down, so the opposite hand goes down and the same side hand comes up at the same time. This one's actually a palm upward block, just like movement 3 was. It's the same block here. And a low stance palm pushing block is all palm pressing blocks, always accompanied with a palm upward block. So here, then you do the same on the other side. L stance, low stance. And the low stance is in slow motion. Here. From here, I'm going to step forward and turn to the side and do what's called an angle punch. An angle punch looks like this. And it stops in front of my badge. Okay, so from here, now my last 2 movements are U-shaped locks. So that's somebody attacking me with a pole. They'll either attack with the top first or with the bottom first. And I'm going to block one side and then be ready to catch the other side. So from here, hands relaxed, down and out this way. Then step foot to foot and go the other side. I'll do this again facing you so you can see it. 1 and 2. Now this hand here doesn't have any rotation at all. Just comes from in front of me and opens out. I'm blocking with my reverse knife hand, but my thumb's out of the way so I can catch the pole. From here, it comes straight out this way. This other hand also has very little rotation. It's starting with my palm facing that way, and it rotates over the top and opens here so that my hands line up vertically this way, with my wrists nice and straight. Okay, so it's 1 and 2, stepping foot to foot. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Cool. Okay. Everyone's had a drink. We're going to have one more shot at your own pattern. Then we'll do it. We're going to run a little bit late, give you some extra time tonight. So, own pattern, everybody ready? You've taken some sequences out of it. You've practiced those sequences. Now let's put it together into a pattern. I'm going to be watching a couple of you, see how you're going. Remember, when you've got kicks in your pattern, make sure you load and explode. Use your hip. You've got to get the power from this part of your body into all of your kicks. Don't just place your kick out and make it look pretty. Explode into your kicks. They've got to cause damage if they hit something. Jump. Those doing sun maki, watch the angle of your hands. Some of you are a little bit too far in. Make sure you open your hands, almost vertical, slightly beyond vertical. When you're doing side kick, make sure you pivot your supporting foot, load and explode. Make sure that supporting foot pivots. Watch your stances. Those doing Jungun, watch your stances.
How many times do we do our pattern?
Just once, just once. Zach, just remember your sine wave after you kick before you land. So after your kick, sine wave punch. Keep going, looking good, Zach. Masepane, a question for you to ponder. Poun is done across the AB line. And how many movements in Poun are you standing on the AB line and step to the AB line? And how many movements out of those 36 movements do you step from your AB line to your AB line? And shot. When you're ready, you can hold up a number of fingers or on your hands to give me an answer. Everybody else, I want you to start working through your step sparring. So yellow belts and yellow stripes, remember, you're going to do it alone, that's fine. If you've got a partner with you and you've got space and you can do it safely, you can do it with your partner, but otherwise just do it alone. White belts and yellow stripes, white belts, you can do this too. Remember our three-step sparring techniques. Middle punches, stepping back with your middle block and your flat fingertip thrust. Those of you who are yet green stripes, your attacks and defenses are now an L stance. Okay, so from your walking stance ready position, L stance punch for your one-way sparring. And then your defenses must also be an L stance. 1, 2, 3, and your counter attacks are with your feet. So you've got side front snap kick, turning kick, and side piercing kick. So if you don't know those, make sure you're learning them through your book. You also have green stripes two-way three-step sparring. So Miss Kelsey, you're going to have to learn this as well. Two-way three-step sparring, counter-attacking with your hand. So that's doing number 1 and number 2, both directions. So if I'm going to, so from here, low block, punch, punch, punch forward, and then punch backwards 3 times. And then return. Then I'm going to block backwards. 1, 2, 3, counter attack, block forwards. 1, 2, 3, counter attack. And you do that with number 1 and number 2. That's two-way three-step sparring. Green belts, you've got two-step sparring. Again, without your partner from here, the first one, punch, low front kick. Then your defense, the punch in for a middle block, front kick, low block, counter attack either with your punch for green belts or with your elbow for blue stripe. Blue belts and above, you've got your one-step sparring. Blue belts and above, you can choose depending on the safety of your area, whether you will do your one-step sparring or whether you will do two-step sparring. You don't want to jump and knock TVs and stuff off the shelves. Where you go? Well, Miss Epine gives me her answer.
So,
Question, yes, ma'am.
all right. So, what are all the step sparrings that I have to do?
Two-way three-step sparring, counter-attacking with your hands. So number 1 and number 2 from yellow belt, you do that both directions.
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got to do one-way three-step sparring, counter-attacking with your feet. Now for that, your attacks are all done with L stance. So you've got the book, right? That's got those laid out for you.
Yeah.
So your attacks are in L stance, your blocks are in L stance, you can attack with your feet. Then you've got two-step sparring, which we've also got videos for on our website, where it's one hand attack, one foot attack, defend, defend, counter attack, or a foot attack, hand attack, defend, defend, counter attack. Okay?
So it's any one of those.
All 3 of them. You have to do all of them.
But like,
You got another ball. Not going to make it easy for you. So away you go.
Thank you.
Sir,
Question.
what's the step sparring for red belt?
For red belt, it's one-step sparring. It's just more advanced. You've got 3 new compulsory techniques. You've got mid-air kick. I think it's flying reverse hooking kick, maybe. Flying vertical kick. Maybe flying downward kick. I can't remember the exact 3. But it's 3 really cool kicks. One-step sparring. All flying kicks, more advanced than what you've done so far.
Is there like a certain order or a random order?
No, there's not an order. The book has got some examples. You can use those examples. That's a good thing to practice to get in your mind. But I don't mind whether you use the attacks and defenses in the book, but you just have to show me those 3 compulsory techniques appropriately.
So I'm pretty sure the kicks are vertical, midair, and twisting.
Thank you very much. Flying vertical kick, inward and outward, flying mid-air kick, and flying twisting kick. Thank you, Mr. Saper.
Oh, so reverse it's reverse hook and kick for red belt and vertical kick is red stripe, sir.
Okay, vertical kicks red stripe and reverse hooking kicks red belt. Okay, thank you. Ms. Epine, how many you got?
I think I need to recount the stepping away ones. I was counting being away from the AB line as both feet off, but then I was counting being on the AB line with only one leg or 1 foot on it. So I might need to recount.
So if you have to have 1 foot on it and then step on it. So from the
okay, to be fully on. Okay, so fully on, fully off.
Yeah, fully on, okay. Fully on. So from on to on.
Oh, on to on.
On to on. Not on to off and not off to on. On to on.
On
how many
to
are
on.
Zach, you
only on to on.
On to on. Only on to on.
Okay, I'll recount.
Okay. Zach, which question? Okay, practice your 3-step then. I want to see your awesome 3-step. Make sure that's cemented in your mind so that when we get back into class, you're just going for it with your partner.
Can I ask another question?
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. All the 3-step sparring that I have to do is on, well, all the examples are online, right? On the website.
Yes. Yes. So if you look on our website under our syllabus sheets and resources, on the yellow stripe page, there's videos of your yellow stripe 3-step. Sorry, on the green stripe page, there's videos of the green stripe syllabus for step sparring and also Dosan. And for the green belt page, there's videos of the 2-step sparring done alone without a partner, just like we're doing now, and also with Wanyo, the pattern Wanyo.
Okay, thank you.
So there are videos of it all there. Yeah.
So can you remember the book example for the twisting kick?
No, sir, I can't. I find for 1-step that I don't bother learning the examples. I just make them up based on what kind of works. And I haven't got a copy of that book with me here. I'm sorry.
So it's back kick and then dodging, flying, twisting.
Okay, cool. Thank you. The attack's back piercing kick from your parallel stance, dodge, flying, twisting kick.
You sort of jump into the back kick. It's very counterintuitive. I've never liked it that much.
Well, you got the joy now that you are having to demonstrate a bit of everything. And so when you come to 1-step, you can just be creative, do stuff that looks awesome, as long as you show the compulsory techniques from the grades.
So,
how many did you get?
Is it twice?
Twice. Very good. Awesome.
Yeah. I was right the first time. I got confused. Yeah, right.
Movements 18 and 36. The only movements that step from the line to the line. Everything else is behind it.
Okay.
Very good. Okay. Nice. Do you have any questions about the pattern?
I've heard so many different explanations for these movements here, the crossing.
Yes.
Yeah. Some people say that you shouldn't cross, that it should be like that. Other people say you should cross like that.
It does cross.
It does cross.
I think it actually crosses in front of the epigastrium, and it's quite a tricky one to do because this is a pressing block with your fist. So your fist has to go downward. So it's quite tricky from a cross position to have that fist go downward while the other hand comes up. So this hand here is actually the same block as Huarang is when you do this, the Huarang. So it's a side front block. But the block you're actually doing is a full fist pressing block. Okay, so it's blocking like a front snap kick with your fist. So you're smashing it, like punching the foot, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, it's always in a sitting stance accompanied with a side front block. But yeah, they cross in front of the epigastrium, and then this hand has to then rotate downwards. So come from this position, and then the knuckles go straight down. It's quite tricky to do. and then this one's coming outward. So the answer to your question is yes, they do cross. And then trying to get this movement from palm up to palm down, very much like your upset fingertip thrust from here, going palm forward to palm up in a straight line this way. When you're doing an upset fingertip thrust, there's a lot of movements that have quite an unusual twist like that. Supyong Jerigi, this one here is the same. Similarly, the punch in your side piercing kick, it's quite an awkward punching position to do from across. And then Supyong Jerigi is coming from here. So yeah, it's another one of those awkward ones that comes from here and then blocks downward this way with the forefist.
Cool, that clears it up.
Cool. Okay, and come on. Does anybody have any questions about this step sparring?
I have a question again. I'm so sorry.
Yes, absolutely.
For the, you said there was another sparring that I had to do. It was the 3-step sparring and 2-step sparring, and then another one that I have to do or something.
And you've got there's 3-step sparring. You do it one way and 2-way.
Yeah.
Okay.
The 2-way one. What is the counter attack for that?
The 2-way one, you're just doing number 1 from your yellow belt stuff and number 2 from your yellow belt stuff, exactly the same in both directions.
Oh, okay.
Okay, now, this is for everyone's benefit. For everyone up to red stripe, we've got on here videos of most of your syllabus up to red stripe. We don't have free sparring, we don't have your self-defense in here because I didn't have a partner to work with, but all your other stuff is recorded in here. So if we take, for example, green stripe, then here we've got step sparring and patterns in here as well, and also fundamental movements. So there's the fundamental movements to learn for green stripe. Here's 2 videos of the pattern with Master Rimmer, and here's your 3-step sparring syllabus: 2-way and counter-attacking with your hands, and 1-way counter-attacking with your feet. Okay, so those syllabus classes are all on here on our website. So glendowie.com, members, syllabus sheets, and online resources. Okay, so they're all there. Generally, your 3-step sparring, can't remember whether I did this earlier today or whether it was for, I think I did. From here, you get your low block, your 3 punches, just like you do for number 1. Pause, and then do the 3 punches stepping backwards, because you're attacking in both directions. And then after that, you do your blocks in both directions. So here, then step back, 1, 2, 3, counter-attacking here, hop, and then forward, 1, 2, 3, hop, counter-attack at both ends. Okay, and you just do number 1 and number 2. Okay, thanks guys. Let's get some stretching on. Sorry, it's 7:15. There's some extra stuff tonight. Sitting down, left leg up. Hope you got something out of class tonight. Cross over the top and twist. It's much harder, I find, when I teach classes. I always try and give everybody something to work on. And I haven't quite managed to do that in the Zoom classes. It's quite hard to look at everyone and make sure that I give everyone some feedback. So hopefully I managed to give you some feedback, and I apologize if I didn't. Some camera angles make that difficult too. Just keep walking through your syllabus. When we get back into the dojang, I want you to be very confident in knowing your material. So when we get back in the dojang, we are doing it. Okay, you're not going into the dojang to learn your step sparring or to learn your pattern. I want you to know it so that when we get back into the dojang, we are refining it and practicing it, getting it in with partners. And change sides. So Jack, make sure you're watching those videos of Wanyo, because you didn't quite get the movements right tonight. You had some extra movements and facing some unusual directions. So let's work through, make sure you got those sequences correct.
Sir,
Yes, ma'am.
would you be able to tell us how many classes we have been to, and if we're allowed to do the grading?
If you hang on after class, I can tell you that, yes, I've got it printed out here.
Thank you.
And both feet out. Breathe in. And out. Emily, can you wave to me to show me that you're here? Cool. So Aiden, can you just shuffle back a little bit? And Emily, can you stand up and do your 3-step sparring for me, please? Just want to see how you're going with that. Lovely. Thank you. So 3-step sparring alone. Way you go. Good. Remember your ready position. Here's your low block. Emily, remember to do your low block before you attack. Remember to do your low block before you attack. And heels in, everyone. The second one, Emily, cross, it's blocking outward. It's not a rising block because the measurement's quite different for a rising block. It's a side block for number 2. Lift the knee up for that front kick. Okay, thanks, Emily. That's all 3. Just join us for some stretching. And legs apart. Sitting up nice and tall. Reach up to the sky and lean over to one leg. Breathe deeply. And up. Other side. Cool. If you have a little bit of downtime on a non-training night, guys, just walk through all of your patterns. For some people, it's been a while since you've done them all, so people are getting a little bit rusty in them. So just walk through them all. Maybe walk through your step sparring alone to make sure you're familiar with all the movements.
Sir, I'm sorry I have to leave early. My dinner's ready.
Oh, you're not leaving early, Zach. We're running late. So thank you very much for coming. I'll see you next class.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Stretch up nice and tall and down to the middle. It's almost a 90-minute class today. Apologies to those who have to run away. And slowly up. Heels back, give your legs a shake. And standing up. Left leg behind. Angle my camera a little. So one of the most challenging things I find of doing a Zoom class, particularly a senior class, is because we're not lined up in ranks, because the screens are quite randomly distributed. So I've got red belts over here, and then yellow belts and blue belts, and it's quite tricky to keep an eye on everyone. So it's a good challenge. Hopefully you're all getting something out of it. And change legs. And big lunge forward. Keep your torso upright. Stretch the iliopsoas muscle of the back leg. And change sides. And up. Little rotation of the hips. Change direction. And shot to the left and tidy up. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming. Looks like we'll be here for another week at least. Well, then we'll be dropping to level 3. So we'll keep going with the Zoom classes. I'll keep trying to keep it varied. It's great to have people come along, my assistants come along and help with classes, because then I can throw different stuff at you with different ideas from the seniors. So keep coming along. Make sure you're working through your syllabus. And when we get, as I say, when we get back to the dojang, I want everyone to know your syllabus. So you're practicing it, doing your partner work without having to look in your book and go, what's my next movement? So particularly for those of you who are blue belt, red stripe, red belt, start now by actually looking at the examples in the book for your step sparring and learn those, because without a partner in front of you, it's going to be much harder to learn your distances and things. So learn the ones in the book so that when we get back to club, you can just do it. Okay, so everyone doing a bit of homework, reading through your material. I look forward to seeing you next class, whether that be 5 o'clock tomorrow for the juniors or 6 o'clock on Thursday. Thanks, guys. Ta-da. Kia ora, te koa. Hasa. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, visitors. Love
Thank you,
to see
sir.
visitors.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, guys.